All right, y'all. Welcome back to Dreaded Weeb TV, man. And today we're gonna get into a topic that I've been thinking about, and I've been thinking about making a video on it. I know I took a break for a little bit of time. I kind of just had to get my head right. Had to figure out, what I really wanted to do with this YouTube shit. Like, I felt like a lot of the videos I was making them because I wanted people to see them, and I was caring more so about like the view count that I would get, rather than actually making something that I enjoy for the content and actually giving something back to my viewers. Cause I appreciate all of y'all, bro. Like, we got 277 subs, bro. Like, I can't even fit 277 people in this room I'm recording in right now, my nigga. Like, I fuck with y'all heavy. All right. So we're not gonna get too much into like too much of the sappy shit and all that, bro. I'm not trying to be sappy and shit, but we're gonna go ahead and talk about why My Hero Academia Season 5 is boring right now. Because let's keep it a buck, bro. My Hero Academia Season 5 is boring as hell right now. If you think it's not boring as hell, you know it's a little slowed down. But it's for good reason. So let's go ahead. We're going to get into that. Now, the first reason why I feel like it's so boring, because right now going on in, the season 5 of the anime, we're getting Class 1A versus Class 1B, right? So we're putting both of these people, we haven't really seen them fight each other since the festival. Yeah, that's like the last time. So it's kind of like bringing it full circle, because now we have to see how have they grown. Because we've really been following Deku. Like, we've seen some of the classmates, participate or help, in dire situations where they kind of were forced to learn with experience rather than having the time to study and get those book smarts and all that practical knowledge like 1B has. So that's what we hear Vlad say, that one, like, fucking vampire hero or whatever. Basically see him saying that as well. Like, which one's going to come out on top? Is actual experience going to come out on top? Or is book smarts, practical training, stuff like that, is that going to come out on top? So it's kind of like we're seeing both of those polar opposites in both of the classes there. Now, why I feel like it's boring is because for the most part, like Class 1A, we know a lot of what they could do. And especially if you saw the movie, one thing that they spoiled in the movie, where it was it wasn't called Heroes Rising. It wasn't Two Heroes. I forgot the name, bro. It's something with heroes in the name, bro, but it's the second movie. We saw that Tokoyami was flying in the second movie, bro. So when they showcased that in season 5, I was like, damn, bro, like, we already saw that in the movie. Like, why did y'all spoil that? And I remember when I saw the movie with my homie Elijah, he's like, what the fuck? Tokoyami is flying? Like, when did this nigga learn how to fly? And I'm like, oh yeah, bro, they're spoiling. Like, this nigga Deku had the gauntlets before we even knew what the gauntlets were. You feel me? So, before we even like got those Air Force gauntlets in season 4, like, that's how much they had skipped in that movie, bro. I mean, not necessarily skipped, but there was just a lot of development that you hadn't seen in the anime. So we kind of already got to see a lot of these characters' move sets and new moves that they're going to showcase in the season 5 and these next upcoming fights. We already saw those already. So that's partly why it feels kind of boring. Another reason why it feels boring too, and why I can see why people say it's boring, because I feel it as well, is just because we've kind of gotten tired of the day-to-day, like, school activities, like all that shit. Like, at this point in the story, it should be reaching that, that critical conflict where we're starting to see the characters develop, start to see them actually use it in action and actually start to become heroes. By season 5, bro, like, I know it's called My Hero Academia, but they've been in so many real world situations that it feels kind of redundant bringing them back to this school stuff. Like, it feels like we're taking a step back. It feels like the story isn't progressing. But really, in actuality, it is. It's just the way the pacing of the movie and everything was. There is a reason why they're doing this whole one Class B or the Class 1B versus Class 1A and stuff like that, is because, spoilers, if you haven't read the manga, I'm not going to spoil it too much, but just how we're seeing the heroes go back and, show us everything that they've learned during their provisional license exams, and, seeing them overcome some of the fears or things like that they had in the beginning. Like specifically with Momo, how she lacks in confidence. She actually, that's something we didn't see in the movie. She didn't really overcome her confidence, but she kind of did during this exam versus Class 1B and Class 1A. So we do get to see some character development, but it's just not substantial enough to make it feel like we're not taking a step back in that story. Now, as I was saying, I kind of got derailed. But the same way that we're seeing the heroes showcase everything that they've learned, we really haven't seen the villains prove that they're getting better as villains. Like, they're just in the background, which is cool because in a normal hero story, like, you don't really see too many of the heroes. I mean, too many of the villains. But that's what I love about My Hero Academia is they show you both sides of the spectrum. They show you that, all heroes aren't inherently good and not all villains are inherently bad. Like Stain necessarily, he might be labeled a villain because he's killing heroes, but he's killing heroes that are only doing it for the money, that are only doing it for the fame. Like, they're not doing it to actually help people, which is completely, like, I understand where Stain's coming from, but there's a better way you can go about it instead of killing heroes, bruh. But anyways, for the second half of this season, we're going to see the villains actually having their own kind of training arc, but it's very villainesque. Like, it's not going to be in a school setting where, people are holding your hand and shit like that. Nah, bro, it's going to be raw. Like, we're going to see Shigaraki level up in ways that you didn't even think Shigaraki could level up. So the way that the heroes are showcasing is they're using their abilities and, they learn practical knowledge of how to use their quirks and training their quirks. We're going to see a lot of the villains do what's called a quirk evolution. So in the story, I feel like, honestly, it was kind of a shortcut for some of the villains just to fucking evolve their quirks and, get to that next level just based off of quirk evolution. But it is what it is. We need the villains to at least be progressing to pose an actual threat. Because as of right now, I feel like, if Shigaraki is still at his base form of when he was at, the high school and stuff, and he had broke in with the Nomu and shit like that, I feel like Deku could beat that version of Shigaraki off rip. Deku is washing that nigga. So how are we going to get Shigaraki to the point to where he is now a posable threat again? Because really, every villain, thus far, I think the next best villain after Shigaraki was honestly Chisaki. And yeah, that's with Muscular included too. Muscular was like not that great of a villain. He was just a meathead, bro. But Chisaki was a cool villain because he had depth, bro. He didn't necessarily think that he was a villain. He thought that what he was doing was saving the world because he was saying, hey, quirks are doing more inherent bad than they are good. And down the line, you're going to learn more about that quirk singularity that we learned about, in the season as well, how they said he's getting closer to that singular point. That's what Chisaki was talking about. Quirks are going to start getting to the point to where it's doing more damage to the human body than it is like, giving you a boost, right? So, I definitely, I see where people are coming from with saying that My Hero Academia is boring right now. I definitely feel it, but I say give it a chance because after you see this My Villain Academia arc, which is what they called it in the manga, it's going to change your complete perception of the show. You're going to actually start loving some of these villains. If you're like me, I love the villains, bro. Shigaraki is my favorite character. And I'll scream it from the rooftops, bro. Shigaraki is the coldest character in the show. I like him better than All Might. I like him better than Deku. I'd say, you know what? Like, it's Shigaraki and then Bakugo right there. You feel me? Like, that's right under. And then Deku's like third, then All Might's fourth. You feel me? So I say, give it a chance, man. It is boring right now, but it is going to get better. And it is all for a purpose. And yeah, that's going to be the end of my rant here, guys. But hey, if you liked this type of video, let me know. Because I'll definitely do like more types of videos like this where I kind of like talk about the seasons of the shows. Like one video that I want to put out as well is a video about To Your Eternity, which is what I think is one of the best animes of this season out right now. Like if y'all aren't watching To Your Eternity, you need to watch it, man. But we're going to save that for another video. I will catch y'all on the next one. Y'all be safe and weebs out.
Nigga, X-Man, you're a nigga for gifted. Couldn't do nothing wrong like I'm Griffith. You know I come in band of Hulk, killing the shit. You bitch, whoa, nigga feel like I'm Gohan. Super Saiyan 2 with a purple suit on, nigga.